Hello, everybody, and welcome to Called Up the Prospects podcast. I'm Chris Peters of FloHockey, joined as always by Cam Robinson of Elite Prospects. And Cam, I'm feeling very Olympic today. How are you feeling?
Oh, are you kidding me? I'm getting up early. I'm watching hockey. My 10-year-old was conveniently sick this morning, so he got to watch Czechia, Canada with me on the couch. I mean, this is what it's all about. I'm loving life. If I couldn't be in
Oh,
Milan,
man.
this is the next best thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, the amount of couch time that I'm getting right now, watching the Olympics and watching all the hockey, and we're going to talk about that today too, because the youngsters are popping off in Milan. We're going to get to that shortly. But gosh, Cam, I mean, like just thinking about the 12 years that we've been waiting for the NHL to come back to the Olympics. We see Canada, as we record this on Thursday, we're recording after Canada has beaten Czechia 5-0. USA will play Latvia later today. But I couldn't sleep last night. I was that excited about the Olympics. I mean, like I was up real late. I was up late enough to see Canada's morning skate lines or whatever, whoever the scratches were, because that's where I was at. Just like could not wait. And here we are. We are finally in the Milan Cortina Olympics. And it's been fun to watch so far.
Yeah, I mean, I love the hype that it's messing with your sleep. That nothing but my kids will mess with my sleep. Um, but I am like, counting down the days. Like the women got it started way early, and I'm just like, I was just chomping at the bit, waiting for these men's games to get fired up too. But it's been great hockey on both sides of the coin too. Those American girls, they lead the boots to the Canadians the other day. I did not love that, but that's okay because the men will give it back to it on the good side here.
We will see about that. We will talk about that as well. Let's start though. Yeah, I mean the Canadian women and the US women, that game, boy, lopsided. And then we got to see Canada's men take it to Czechia today. And while Czechia had a lot of shots on the shot counter, I didn't see too many of them come from between the dots. This Canadian team, as we knew it would be, is an absolute wagon. And among the many cogs in this machine that is quite frankly terrifying is 19-year-old Macklin Celebrini. And obviously we're a prospect show. And Cam, I thought the cool thing about this Olympics, we've been doing this for a while, but this is really the first time since we've been prospects guys where the players that we have routinely tracked and scouted and watched and as they matured have really become the stars of the game and are now the stars of the Olympics. And so little did we know that one of them, as recently as 2 years ago that we were tracking for the draft, was going to be on this team, this Canadian team, this wagon. Celebrini scores in his debut. I mean, he does it right away. It's bananas. Yes, game winner. Yeah. Well-timed goal as well. Deflection goal at the net front. But this is Mac's time to shine. I mean, we knew that he was going to be a part of this team, but now we're seeing him. He's riding shotgun with McDavid. I mean, is this not insane right now? Like in the NHL era, to see that is crazy to me.
Man, and so he was excellent. He was excellent. I think, looking at Dmitry Filipovic's, advanced data here, he had 4 high danger scoring chances, second only to McDavid's 6. As far as like creating chances and getting your own chances, McDavid had 14. The next highest was 6, right? Like, so it was him and Mac, and then, everybody else was kind of floating around that same level as Celebrini. McDavid was on a completely other level. And the cool thing about that line too, is like how scared of you of basically every player on that line, right? McDavid's McDavid. He'll kill you in a million different ways. Tom Wilson's going to kill you in one way, and it's physically. And then Celebrini's just going to hound you all night until you cough something up or you make a mistake, and he's going to burn you. I love the tip goal too. I just saw a video of him, maybe it was yesterday or the day before, of him staying late after practice, just working on tips from both sides, just working on the tips, those high knockdown tips. And there you go. Pays to stay late after practice, kids.
Yeah, and how often as a center are you getting those? Like, so now he's playing wing, right? So he's playing wing, so he's got to do those things, right? Where you're not going to be on the puck as much. I also wanted to point this out. This came from Curtis Pichelko, who covers the San Jose Sharks. Macklin Celebrini has now scored a goal in his USHL debut, which I was at, his NCAA debut, which was on FloHockey, by the way, his NHL debut with the San Jose Sharks, and now his Olympic debut. He has scored So we have two of those goals that happened on FloHockey. But that's been the crazy thing is I shared a picture earlier today, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was, talking to him in his rookie season and not and hearing all the hype and hearing that, hey, this kid's going to be really good. And I had a buddy who was like, this guy, he's the best. He's going to be the best one since McDavid. I thought that was really far-fetched. I thought it was really too soon to say. And, as I joked, like I should have asked him at that point. So Mac, when can we expect you to be, the best player in the world? Like tomorrow, apparently? It's bananas. And this is a player that we followed for years now, Shattuck St. Mary's, Chicago Steel, Boston University, San Jose Sharks. We've seen his maturation. The thing that is maintained throughout that entire time, Cam, is that he is just the most complete player. And he's always at more complete than you would say anybody his age could be. And I think he's, the heir apparent to the Crosby style of the next generation. There's a little he's more of that kind of Corvette, whereas McDavid might be the Ferrari kind of situation. Like it's just a little bit of a different. I don't even know if that makes sense. I don't know cars. I don't know. What am I doing? But either way, Cam,
go to wrestling terms or something here. Hey,
yeah, exactly. This guy is out of this world at 19 years old, and just the level is always rising for him. The bar is always rising for him. I mean, where does he go next? That's my question. Where do you go from here?
Well, he just keeps going up, right? He starts chasing down McKinnon and McDavid, right? And we'll pump the brakes on that because he's got a little bit of a hill to climb to get there yet. But I mean, like you said, he is so responsible and he's so fast. He's not quite McDavid fast, but man, he can wheel and he doesn't need to be overly physical, but sometimes he decides to be. Sometimes he decides to throw a few hits out there too. I bring this up fairly often, probably too often, but during his draft year, the thing is how I said, it was like, is if Jonathan Toews and Sidney Crosby had a baby, that's Macklin Celebrini. Because it's like, he's better offensively than Jonathan Toews was. And he's maybe better defensively than Sidney Crosby ever was. He's going to get there at his peak, but like that might have been underselling him too, is that he's going to get even more juice offensively than we thought. He's a special player. He's a very special player. And he's one of those ones too. It's like, that's what you dare to dream when you are a bottom feeder looking at hoping to get a first overall pick, is that please give me a Macklin Celebrini. Give me somebody that not only is going to put up a ton of points for me, but is going to be a leader, is going to be a culture carrier, is going to be someone who can stand up two-way too. They can go to Team Canada and play the wing and do whatever's asked of them and do it immediately. Just instantly change the complexion of your entire organization from day one. And that's what he's done.
It defies logic, honestly. I mean, we just have never really seen, I wasn't doing this job when Sidney Crosby was a prospect. I didn't get a chance to see him. And I had said last, in his draft year, this is the most complete player that I've personally tracked. This is the most, well put together hockey player. And I was even thinking like, maybe he's not going to point up as some of these other guys were. And then he does. And then you say, well, but he's so committed. And I think we sometimes hedge, and I think it's appropriate to, because way more times than not, they're not that thing.
Yeah.
Macklin Celebrini is better than that thing. And that's the thing that just drives me bananas, that like, how do we evaluate players? Like, we'll talk about Gavin McKenna a little bit later in the show, and he's a freshman, and we were trying to compare him to a freak of nature. Like that's what Macklin Celebrini is. And just to have watched his maturation. The other thing about him too is I think the attitude is correct. The character is correct. The work ethic is correct. This isn't a guy that takes shortcuts. This isn't a guy that is going to play or cheat the game in any particular way. Now it's on, Mike Greer and everybody else in San Jose to put the team around him, because you've got a centerpiece that is going to win Stanley Cups. He's going to will them to win Stanley Cups. Get ready, Bay Area. The Stanley Cup is coming at some point. Because in ways that other players can't transform a franchise, or we put that label on so many guys, nobody's ever fit it better. Because even, you could say that Connor McDavid was that guy. It hasn't worked out that way in Edmonton. Sidney Crosby has got his 3 Stanley Cups. Like Nathan McKinnon has a Stanley Cup. I think McDavid will have Stanley Cups, but Macklin is that guy where it's just like, he's going to find a way to make sure it happens in the Bay Area.
Man, and like even from looking at it, how fortunate is Canada here to just like just the run that they get, right? Gretzky into Yzerman and Sakic, right into Crosby, right into McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini. Like it's just the crazy Hall of Fame all-time center run has just been ridiculous. And I'm sure I'm forgetting a few guys here too, no disrespect. But it's not even fair. It's like every 5 years, they're like, oh, let's just toss another top 10 all-timer into the mix here for Canada to run with for 20 years. And I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing about how, USA has got probably the best roster that they've put together in my lifetime in this thing, and Canada just adds a kid out of and let's say, oh, by the way, we had this nuclear arsenal, and here is this other one that we have
Mm,
now added that is somehow more terrifying than the last few, and really, we also saw today when Canada, there was a Crosby to McDavid to McKinnon
oh,
goal, which
just
should
like at the
not
Four
be allowed.
Nations.
That is
Yeah.
cheating. That is unfair. Stop that right now, Canada.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I love it so much. I love it so much.
Oh man, you guys have all that. Well, we'll get more into Canada and the U.S. a little bit later, but I wanted to switch focus to another player in the Olympics that is a recent draftee, is a guy that last time the Olympics were here really put his name on the map and solidified
Mm.
himself as the number one pick. And I'm talking about Juraj Slafkovsky, who had 3 points in a 4-1 win for Slovakia over Finland on the opening day of this tournament, Cam. He now has 9 career goals in the Olympics. Now, yes, the NHL wasn't playing last year, but he was what, 18? Like 17?
Yeah.
So we're, don't discount those 7 goals, because I mean, I happen to be watching that USA Slovakia game in that tournament, and he scored a goal very similar to the one that he scored for
Hmm.
the first, or for the second goal that he scored for
The
Slovakia
Rocket.
against Finland. Just the guy, he puts on that Slovakian crest, and he is suddenly a superhero. And first goal was gorgeous. Second goal was an incredible snipe. And then the effort without a stick to assist the empty net goal was incredible as well. It's been up and down for Uri at various times in the NHL, but this feels like a moment for him. And in Slovakia now, suddenly, do I think they're going to, win a medal here? No, but I mean, you watch a player take over a game the way that he did. That is special stuff, and he's only 22.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted it yesterday too. There is that he goes to the Olympics and he's prime Wayner. Like he just all he does is he just fills the net, right? And he looks so good. And this tweet got brought up too that it was like November 23, where I said just like bet against Juraj Slafkovsky at your own demise. Like you can't you have to give these big men so much time. Is that he's probably still multiple years away from hitting his prime. It's
Right.
easy to forget how young he's 21. He's 21 years old. Like we're going to be looking at him at 24 and being like,
Yeah, I
okay,
said
now
22. He's
what do we,
21. You're right. Yeah.
right? Yeah. Now what are we looking at here in 2-3 years down the road still? So it's like, yes, I do think that hopefully this is going to be a jumping off point for him that he can bring back to Montreal and can like, start to show this a little more regularly at the NHL level. But it's still, let's look at him at 2030 and see what's cooking, because I really truly believe those extra large players with elite pedigree, which he had, first overall pick. And I know you can question, the times in his career that he's actually produced at an elite level, but he has flashed it enough at big enough events that I think he has that level to him. And you see the way he scores, just even yesterday, is
Yeah.
that I still believe that he has such a unique upside that he can be a special player, and that we're seeing it right now, just the flashes. And like, if he can keep it going for Slovakia, why not? Why not? Why
Yeah.
couldn't they? If they can run that hot goalie, if they can do some things, the crazier things have happened, right? It's a great start for them. Not so good for the Finns.
No, yeah, tough start for Finland, and we were concerned about them without Alexander Barkov, and now they've got a lot of questions to answer. But just sticking with
Yeah,
Slavkovsky real quick, 9 career goals. That's as many as Jaromir Jagr had in his Olympic career.
decent.
And he's done it in 7 games. So, is that good? I mean,
Seems good.
that's
Seems
pretty
good.
good. Actually, it's 8 games. So 9 goals in
Well,
8
that's good.
games for Juraj Slafkovsky. And he's on pace for 30 goals this season, his first 30 goal season. He's on pace for a career year in terms of his points and everything else. I do agree, like that, those bigger players, you need to give them a little extra time. You need to let them find their way, because there's that desire. Oh, I'm bigger, I have to play a certain way, when he also has this tremendous skill. Like, when he really rounds into like a power forward, the way that he looked like he was a power forward in that game against Finland, when you have that Juraj Slafkovsky on a consistent basis for Montreal, watch out. That's going to be something pretty special. And got to give him a lot of credit for the work that he has done. He played 20 minutes in that game, 3 points, 4 shots on goal. Just a really outstanding performance. But wanted to really quickly touch on some of the other young players that are in this tournament. There's a number of NHL prospects, guys that play in the AHL, guys that play overseas. But one of the guys that had a real standout was the goalie that you mentioned, Samuel Halavai, plays for the Iowa Wild in the AHL. We was on I was at the outdoor game in Hastings, Minnesota, and he was there with his toque on over his goalie mask. And I was like, gosh, I hope he doesn't get, hurt before the Olympics in this thing. And he doesn't. And he goes out and he has 39 saves after some stat corrections after the game. 39 of 40 he stops against Finland. A huge reason. He has an 886, I believe, in the AHL right now. So puts on the cape. When he has played for Slovakia internationally, he's been their go-to guy for the last few years. He has been great. 928 save percentage in the World Championship for Slovakia. We've talked about Minnesota's goaltending depth. Don't use the Olympics as your corollary. I don't want to knight him or anoint him. But you're seeing him against NHL players on a team that only has 7 full-time NHLers, make 39 saves and look really good doing it. I mean, that's impressive. 24 years old, Samuel Halavai, undrafted free agent.
Big game, big moment, stepped up in a huge way for his team. Like you got to love it. You can't expect him to do it every night at this tournament, but I mean, check one box check. Let's see if he can do it again. Cause these tiny, like little microscopic moments of a season, right? It's so small. Guys can get hot and do like ungodly things. And it's like you get one out the door, maybe you start feeling it. And with goalies, it is momentum, right? It can carry over game to game. And so again, we're not expecting him to keep that rolling. But there's been crazier stories in the past of these guys that are playing outside the NHL and just showing up big and keeping it rolling. So I'm rooting for the kid. I'm rooting for him.
I certainly am too. I mean, I think it's been interesting to watch. And actually last year we saw Jesper Wallstedt had poor numbers in the AHL, comes in the NHL, looks great.
Yeah.
You can only read so much into the numbers. It's, what are the skills? The other thing about Halavai, he also played in the ECHL this season. So he's played in the ECHL, the AHL, and now the Olympics, and has this tremendous showing. Also on that team, Dalibor Dvorsky, he scores a goal. He's now, become a full-time NHLer. He was in the AHL last year, the OHL the year before that. He's a guy that is now taking that gradual step. He's been one of the best players at the World Juniors, and now he's making an impact at the Olympic level. I'm really excited to see where Dalibor Dvorsky goes. I think if you're a St. Louis Blues fan, you're obviously really disappointed with how this season is going. But you've got some guys, the way that Snuggerud has played, and now you've got Dvorsky kind of knocking on the door here. I think if you're the St. Louis Blues, you're starting to see kind of some of the fruits of the labor of the scouts there that have put forth some of these draft picks, and to see Dvorsky make an impact was pretty solid and not terribly surprising either, the way that he's played this year.
Yeah, I was going to say not overly shocking too. He's a good player, and he is very familiar with playing with that jersey on too, right? As you said, did he play 4 World Juniors? I think he played 4 World Juniors, which is nuts, right? So yeah, very, very good player. And again, just, quick spinning, bang it on net, found a little hole. Like that's kind of his style too, right? He's not afraid to get into those dirty areas and just start whacking away.
Yeah, no question about it. Really, really, really intrigued by him. As well. And how about Damian Clara for Italy? 46 saves on 49 shots against Sweden. Kept his team in the game. Unfortunately, leaves the game after making a beautiful breakaway stop on Elias Pettersson.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's not serious, because he actually looked really good. He got a couple of games with the San Diego Gulls in the AHL last year. He plays in the SHL full time and is putting up okay numbers, but he's a 6'6" guy, second round draft pick of the Anaheim Ducks. What a great showing for him, and what a great moment in the for the host country to have at least put the fear of God into Sweden there.
That was fun. That was like legitimately fun. That you know they got the lucky first one, but then like they stayed within one, and then they get another one. Right, the BC boy scores it for him. I'm spacing on his name, but yeah, Clara, he was tremendous. Like he made big saves too. Those weren't gimme saves. Those weren't shots
No.
muffins from the outside. Right, like he was making like that one where like Nylander cut across the front of the net, and he just fully extends all 6'6" of them and gets his pad on it. Like he was making some serious saves, and that save with that one on PD too. Again, now this kid's like an actual prospect too. At 21, at 6'6", like I know the numbers in the SHL aren't great. Like he's having a good Champions League tournament. Like I think he's had like eye-popping numbers there. But the Ducks might have something here. You know, you give him a few years, again, a really big goaltender coming out of Europe, now showing on a big stage that he can handle some of the better NHLers on the planet too. It's like, give him a couple of years. He might be a player too.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, boy, that's pretty awesome to see what's happening here with the goalies, the young goalies, and the guys that are making an impact. I'm going to get to our draft guy in just 1 second because I just got the Latvia lineup, and I'll share that in a second. But I also want to pause on David Spacek real quick. Another guy who plays for the Iowa Wild, made his NHL debut this season. So Czechia has NHL guys that they could have invited, but they invited him. And I think that goes to playing at the World Championship. We talked about him a little bit, but David Spacek, we're not going to judge how he did against Canada, but he played, some decent minutes and is a guy that, is he going to be a superstar prospect? No, but this is a guy that has leveled up over the last couple of years, going from the QMJHL, then to the NH or the AHL, does make his NHL debut this year. He's going to be a guy that I think bears watching, but I want to get us to our friendly neighborhood Latvian, one of our favorites, Alberts Smits. He will be on the third D pairing for Latvia to start against the United States. 18 years old. He is going to be making his Olympic debut just after we finish recording this podcast. He is played at the World Juniors. He played at the World Under-18s and now at the Olympics, all within a calendar year, which is just ridiculous. And so Alberts Smits, Cam, we love him. How do you think he's going to do? We talked about him a little bit last week, but now we're seeing, okay, where does he slot in the lineup? What's going to happen? Like, what should our reasonable expectations be for him?
Buddy, I think he's going to do great. I think he's going to do really well. I do. I honestly think I don't think it's going to be like Slafkovsky where he's going to pop 7 or something crazy like that, obviously, but I think he's going to do really well. And we're going to be watching him closely, just like the scouts are too. We're going to be honing in, like, how are you gapping up? How are you pivoting against speed when you have to face Austin Matthews coming down the wing on you, or Tage Thompson? How are you handling them at the net front? These big guys. I think he's going to do really well. I imagine he's probably going to see his workload increase as the tournament wears along. Like, I actually have some pretty high hopes for this kid, and we're going to get into it in the Believe It or Not, because I made a question about him where I think it's a valid question too. I think he's going to do well. I've got fairly high expectations for him just in general two-way play. I think he can make the first pass. I think he's going to get some shots on goal. We'll see if production comes. It's going to be tough for Latvia in general this year. But no, I think he's going to have some success.
I do too. I mean, I think that the thing is that when you're a player that is close, like you're on the NHL track, like the difference between him and, let's say, a guy that plays in Europe, and he plays in Europe too in Liga, but like another pro that's older and has been around but is never going to the NHL and has never played in the NHL, this player has more talent than that player. Alberts has more talent than that veteran player. And as we've seen in past Olympics and World Championships, err on the side of talent as opposed to experience. Talent wins out. And that's the thing that we've seen even when NHL players weren't in there. USA's team, when they had more college players, had more success than when they didn't. And so I think that just shows you that, hey, these are players that are right on that cusp. And I think that's where Alberts Smits is. He's probably a couple years away yet, but he is physically strong. He can make that good first pass. And we saw, like, in Stian Solberg's draft year, he goes to the World
Mhm.
Championship. Marco Kasper, he goes to the World Championship in his draft year. They're playing against NHL players. They're getting reps against the very best, and they are more than handling it. They are
Oh yeah.
not. It's not too much for them. Those types of players open doors for guys like Alberts Smits in this situation where the team's just like, we have no choice because he's the most talented that we have in that
Yeah.
position. And I agree with you. I think he's going to have a great tournament. I think he's going to, will Latvia have a great tournament? Probably not. Will he have a great tournament? I think he will. There's also a couple of other guys in that team that, Dans Lokmelis, Sandis Vilmanis, watch out for Charlie McAvoy today, Sandis. Those kinds of things. They're going to be, they've got some really intriguing young players as well there. Artur Shilov's, who is there. Elvis Merzlikins will be their goalie.
Help
They've
him
got
get a
some good
bronze
goaltending there in
the
Latvia.
Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got a lot. You've got a lot to look forward to. You got a lot of things to like. And you know what else you got to like, Cam? I'll tell
What's
you.
that?
It's the fact that on FloHockey, the fun never stops, man. And hockey, yeah, it hits harder on Flo.
What a transition.
Hockey hits harder on Flo. The AHL, the ECHL, the USHL, the O, the Q. So don't just watch hockey, live it. Get your annual Flo subscription now.
You know what, buddy? I'll tell you. Thank you for the kudos on the transition. I agree. That was pretty solid.
Crushed that.
Secondly,
Crushed it.
the NHL is not playing at night. So you've had all this fun watching the Olympic Games during the day, and now your nights are open. Well, guess what?
Empty.
The AHL, the OHL, the Q, the USHL, the ECHL, they are all still playing at night. So there has never been a better time than now to get the FloHockey subscription. So make sure you sign up for that. Enjoy it. Also, on FloHockey 24/7, our fast channel, we will have a daily reaction show about the Olympics in Milan. That will be available at 5:30 most days. Check your local listings for that. I always wanted to say check your local listings, and since it's not a linear TV thing, you can do that now. So anyway,
Man.
all right,
Bucket
moving
list.
back. We've got prospect news to talk about. We obviously talk about the Olympics, and we will continue to talk about it as the Olympics are ongoing. But wanted to talk about the biggest news in the prospect world. We covered it last week. Gavin McKenna faced a felony charge. That charge is now gone. That has been taken away by the state there. The sigh of relief everywhere, I think, but also still facing some criminal charges, including misdemeanor for simple assault. That is going to be heard in court. The preliminary hearing was rescheduled, so that was supposed to happen on Wednesday. That did not happen. It's been rescheduled for right around the time the Big Ten tournament is supposed to start. So we'll see exactly how that impacts things. However, Cam, Penn State has games this weekend. Are we going to see Gavin McKenna?
Yeah, so I got the text there that morning from a couple NHL guys saying that they were alerted that he is expected to be in the lineup against Michigan on Friday, Saturday this weekend too. So and then he practiced later that day with Penn. Like they obviously, I think they canceled the media availability earlier in the week, or it was Monday, whatever it was, and really didn't make a statement about it. And then so he's fully, barring some unexpected injury or something else. He's going to be in the lineup at Yost there. I was joking, good buddy Sean Shapiro there at EP. He's going to be at that game, and I was like, I'm tempted to hop on a flight and come meet you. Like that barn is going to be raw. Those fans, those Wolverines, they are going to be giving it to them. Oh, there's going to be signs. There's going to be all sorts of chaos running around there too. And he's going to have to block out all that noise and just get on the ice and just get into that flow state too, because it's going to be highly anticipated. Everyone's going to be watching.
Yeah, all eyes are going to be on McKenna, and they would have been anyway. But now, they had a bye week. So at this point, he hasn't missed a game. We'll see exactly what comes out of this. He, as I mentioned, he's still facing charges. There are multiple charges still that he will have to answer to. Obviously they have not been proven in court, so they're charges alone at this point. So, that's kind of where you get, okay, well, what exactly do you do in these situations? And I think, a lot of these schools have had situations like this sometimes in hockey, sometimes in other sports, where they've got some policies. And so, that's a huge game and a huge weekend for Penn State. Jack Ivankovic for Michigan came back surprisingly last week. He came back from injury, which was not expected.
Way ahead of schedule.
But Michigan split with Michigan State. And so now, Michigan's kind of sitting at number 2 in a lot of the polls. And, they've been number 1 for a lot of the year. Big statement opportunity for Penn State as Gavin McKenna gets ready to return to the ice after all the controversy surrounding him. But will be interesting to watch. And I am guaranteeing you that there will be a lot of NHL scouts in the building at Yost Ice Arena watching that game. And I'm sure there will be a lot of interested parties outside of that as well, given everything that has gone on in the last few weeks around Gavin McKenna. And we'll see how quickly he is able to get back to focusing on hockey. But yes, that will preliminary court hearing still hanging in the balance a few weeks away. All right, switching gears now. Let's go way off into the future here. Let's take a look into our crystal ball. We don't need to look into our crystal ball because the future is now. And Maddox Schultz, who is the top 15-year-old in Canada, one would say, right? I mean, we would say that, right? We could say that.
Said things.
He had a hat trick last night, Wednesday night, as we record this, the day before we record this. Hat trick in a 7-6 win over Saskatoon for the Regina Pats. He, hat trick there, 16 points in 20 WHL games. Cam, what are you seeing from this young man? A lot of excitement around him and his teammate Liam Pugh, but really Maddox Schultz is the guy that people kind of have circled as potentially one of the next big things here in this sport.
Yeah, I will say just a little pop to Liam Pugh. He is excellent. He is very good. I've had moments this year where I've seen them both and I'm like, Pugh might be the better player. So it's very good. They're both very, very talented. But like you said, all these hockey games on in the morning, all this stuff going on. And then I'm like, what am I going to do with my evening? Well, I know, I'll throw on a little WHL action here. Check out some of these next generation stars. And Schultz, like that was a coming out party. Like, honestly, I haven't watched all of his games this year, but I've seen a few and, he's been okay. He's had flashes. He's put up a couple points here and there, but my goodness, he was downright dominant for stretches of that game last night. Like his, the one breakaway goal was nasty. The overtime hat trick goal, power move, like looked like Nate McKinnon. Like he did. He looked like Nathan McKinnon on that goal. Is that good? Like he's got that. That's pretty good. He's got that wide lower body, so strong, can go, skate wide and protect the puck. And he's got a rocket of release, and he's got good vision. He's got great handles. I mean, the kid, like he's a 2028 eligible, right? So we still got so far to go here. But like as far as talent alone and projection, he looks like he's going to be the next one. The Canada just gets to roll out there. Oh, Celebrini? Yeah, no. How about we just toss you Maddox Schultz too? So he's very, very talented and just like spectacular stuff from a 15-year-old who isn't an exceptional status kid. We should remind viewers here,
right?
Is that he could have. My information is that if he wanted to, he would have applied and he would have been accepted. Chose not to, and so through the new rules with the CHL, he's allowed to play. I believe it's 34 WHL games this season and play the rest down in AAA at U18, which he was by far the best player at last year as a 14-year-old at that level. And now he's just demonstrably so as a 15-year-old, but no, another special player. And the fact that Regina has him and Pugh, ridiculous. Like that team they're going to push hard here in likely maybe they try for it next year. But when those kids are 17, if they can hold on to them and not lose them to school too early, they're going to be running roughshod there in a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, for Regina, it's yet another incredible talent after having had Connor Bedard. And going back, just looking in terms of the historical context, with 20 games played so far, he's averaging 0.8 points per game among U16 players all time. That puts him 6th. The guys ahead of him are Connor Bedard, Rob Brown, who was maybe the best WHL player, of his era. Gavin McKenna, who had 1.13 points per game. Landon DuPont last year with 60 points in 64 games. And Zach Benson, who had 20 in 24 games. So 16 points so far for Maddox Schultz in 20 games. That's ahead of Braden Yeager, a couple others, Kirby Doc, that kind of had those opportunities as well. But yeah, you look at the company that he is keeping there, and then on top of that, the way that he's been playing in Saskatchewan AAA this year, just absolutely dominating there. Those games, the Regina Pack Canadians on FloHockey as well. If you ever want to check out the future stars of that league, and Maddox Schultz, I mean, it's a name that you have to know if you're going to be talking prospects here. The way things have gone. Any final thoughts on the young man? It seems like, boy, he's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and it's just, you got to just keep him almost as a package deal with him and Pugh, right? They're playing together for the Pats, they're playing together for the Pat Canadians, right? I hope that they're like best buddies, like Celebrini and Will Smith. I hope we start getting TikToks from them here soon too, like those kids, because we're gonna be tracking them. They're gonna be playing together. It's gonna all the way up to draft day. Like, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and then they're gonna be probably stars. So it's pretty.
Yeah, somebody gonna have to make a Sedin brothers trade for Pugh and Schultz somehow. How's that gonna work?
There you go.
Will anybody ever allow that to happen ever again?
Only Brian Burke can pull that off.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, well, what a lot of fun stuff happened in the hockey world, but I want to bring it back to the Olympics talk, and that's going to bring us to our Beyond Belief segment, where we read each other's statements of fact, maybe, and the other decides whether it's believable or beyond belief. And I've got a sweeping statement here for you, Cam. A sweeping statement.
Okay.
The 2026 Olympics will be the most skilled Olympics of our lifetime. So far, I should say. So far.
Yeah, I love that. Worst day of my life. Worst day of your life so far. Little Simpsons reference here. Oh God, I'm always hung up on, like, that 2010 team was so nasty. Like that Olympics, the Americans, maybe the rest of the world didn't have the same level of talent as the Canadians did. It seemed like you look at that 2002, like, just again in North America. Gosh, maybe as a whole, maybe across all spectrums, maybe it could be right. I could see it. It could be believable. It could be believable because, like, McDavid's the greatest player to ever put on skates. I strongly believe that. So it's like he's involved in this. We still got Sid. You know, you got that. The Americans are nasty. The Swedes, like, yeah, all right, I'll say it's believable. I'm talking myself into it. I think it's believable.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just stop and look at the names and listen, like, we can get caught up in recency bias, and there's no question, but I just feel like the game as a whole has never been this talented.
Yeah,
you've got the best skaters we've ever seen. You've got pretty much all the best puck handlers we've ever seen. You've got some of the best shooters we've ever seen. If you had Russia in this tournament,
I was about to say that was it. That's the caveat. Hey,
yeah, and it's a big one. It is a big one, Cam. And for all the political reasons, it is the way. This is the way it has to be.
Yeah,
but it does have that, that asterisk. And Nikita Kucherov was quoted saying it's not truly a best on best if Russia's not there. And to a certain extent, he is correct. It's the best of the best available, the best of the best that are allowed to play. But then you think about it and you say, just look at Canada's roster alone, and the number of, I mean, in 98, Canada had, some great players. 2002, they had some great players. Like, you can go back, but I just think that the game as a whole, and to your point, it really is more about who's out there outside of Canada. And you think, you look at Sweden, and you say, gosh, you've got Hedman and Carlson on the back end, and you've got Nylander.
Forsberg was their 13th forward.
Exactly. Right. And you've got, Sasha Barkov isn't here. That does bring it down a little bit, but then you see what Slafkovsky is doing. Draisaitl, Stützle, like, Germany has dudes. Like, like, I could not imagine a more perfect hockey watching scenario, with that one exception that we mentioned earlier. And I mean, I feel like we're in an incredible moment right now for this sport.
I'd like to just shout out to my old man, Glenn Robinson here. He texted me this morning. He said, okay, here's what I think. You keep the NHL, but as a feeder league for the new best on best global league. This is how the game is supposed to be played. Like, so he's over there just lapping this up. And he's not wrong, right? This is the best hockey probably we've ever seen. I thought it maybe last year at the Four Nations. I think we're pushing it to a new level again.
I think we will. I think we're going to look back on this with just tremendous awe for what we saw in this tournament. All right, buddy, your turn to tee me up here.
Okay, kick it back to the prospect world a little bit here. Alberts Smits will shine so brightly that he will jump up to that top D spot on draft boards. Because this is a big stage. These are board shifters, these moments. What do you think?
They really are. I mean, we've seen it historically too. So I'm going to say it is absolutely believable. He's given a stage that no one else in his class is going to have.
Yeah.
I don't think Latvia is going to compete with the big countries, but I think they're going to be a tough out. I do think that they are going to be tough to play against. And I would say if this guy is playing 15 and then he starts playing maybe 16, maybe 17, in the same way that we saw Slafkovsky basically gave Slovakia no choice but to put him over the boards in every single key situation 4 years ago. And yes, it's different when you have NHL players in the fold, but Latvia isn't a team that's loaded with NHL talent. And so he has this opportunity. And to me, he's equipped, based on what we've seen, he is equipped to handle it. Now, the questions are going to be about, in terms of pace of decision-making, all those different things. Like, this is a lot for him. This is going to be a pace that he has never played at before. It is a pace that most people have never played at before. So I do think there's caution there, but this will not hurt him. Obviously, there's not a thing he can do in this tournament that is going to hurt his draft stock. He can only help it. And for me, that's why it's believable, is that if he elevates, then we're having a very different conversation about the top of the D pool for this draft.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's believable. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I do, like I mentioned, I think he's going to do well, and I think doing well is certainly going to help his stock a little bit. If he does very well, I mean, he's right there already. Right? There is, I know Verhoff is getting a lot of love as the top, but I do think it's still a race at the top there. And it's like a 4-5 horse race for who's going to be that top D off the board. And he is right in there too. So like you said, nobody else is getting this chance. Nobody else is getting an opportunity like this to shine while facing some of the top players in the world. And so if he can manage it, I think it's believable for sure.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch that guy. I mean, even if he treads water, like they're gonna be like,
right?
Wow, like it's crazy. All right, getting back to our Macklin talk here. Eric Lindros had 11 points at the Olympics as a teenager. So Eric Lindros had 11 points. Macklin Celebrini will match 11 points as a teenager at the Olympics. That's a lofty one.
But is it believable? Absolutely. I mean, you're playing with Davo, right? Like it's believable. Exactly, right? It's like McKinnon said after his goal there. He's like anybody could have scored that one. And it's into the empty cage. So I think Celebrini's going to get a couple more chances like that. He's already got one on the board. It's a good start. You would have probably liked to grab an apple or two here today, but it was against a tough team. They're going to have some easier games as they come through here. There's going to be opportunities to get multi-point games. I'm going to say it's believable, but I'm not betting my money on it happening. How about that?
Yeah, I would.
That's a lot of points.
I wouldn't either. The other thing that I think, that I'm going to say it's beyond belief. Not that I don't believe in Macklin Celebrini. I do, but when you look at the Olympics in the NHL player era and the point total, so Canada more than likely will play a maximum of 7 games in this tournament, which would make it a little bit tougher. Going back to 97, 98, the highest production in an Olympics in which the NHL played was 11 points. And that was Teemu Selanne in 2006. So wow. And so
that's tough. It's going to be tough.
And that's one of the reasons I put this question on here is because, and I agree with you, playing with Connor McDavid, we haven't seen this level. Like, talking about the most skilled thing, absolutely. Like, just put your stick down, get in the right spot. He's going to find you. You're going to have to score at, about a 1.3 or more points per game to get there. And, yeah, you look at the guys that did it, that produced at the highest level. The youngest guy to have more than 10 points, 10 or more points, was Saku Koivu at 23 years old. And then the rest were like Teemu did 11 at 35. Saku had 11 at 31. Hossa had 10 at 26. Like, so these guys were doing it, and it's mostly from the European countries. And I think it's because they had to be leaned on more heavily than some of the other, like, than Canada had to. So it's going to be really, like, in terms of like minutes played and stuff. But I wanted to throw that one on there because let's dare to dream a little bit with Macklin, because if somebody's going to do something out of this world, it feels like it could be him. So maybe I should have asked, will McDavid hit 11 points?
I'll smash that one. It was 3 out the door on the first. You see him firing the puck. How many shots did he have today? Like, he was just firing from everywhere too, which is probably going to hurt Celebrini trying to get his points. I pulled it up on EP here too. So yeah, Vladimir Krutov, 11 and 7, Eric Lindros, 11 and 8, and are the only two guys in like modern history to push it above 10.
Yeah,
nobody else
some guys in the
since the 70s.
Like 30 goals.
I got a 17 goals in 5 games for a Mr. Hooley Smith in 1924. That's a decent tournament. 17 goals in 5. No apples. That. No apples. You guys got a Cy Young.
I don't think they even recorded assists back then.
Like, maybe not, eh? Well, I mean, Harold Halderson 4 years earlier had 9 goals and 2 assists. So in 3 games, he also had a good tournament.
Wow.
So
I mean, hey,
probably go down
good for him.
For a while.
Yeah. So we got a Cy Young Award winner over there. So all right, let's wrap up this one.
Last one here for you. Gav, Mr. McKenna will have a statement game Friday night against Michigan. Is he going to show up and just shut the Boo Birds down and just have a big statement game?
I think, I mean, like, the opportunity to just go and play hockey right now for him probably is like one of the bigger reliefs. And I think we know that the team was behind him. You know that they were supportive in the moment and with everything else. But now for him, it's all about, there's going to be tons of pressure. The children of Yost are going to be after him in a way that has probably never been seen before in Yost Ice Arena. And that's saying something, because the bar for that is incredibly high. I think it's going to be weird to see anything other than, I think, and the other thing is his game is trending well too. That's the other thing, is that the game is trending well. So I think we're going to see, Gavin really try to stake his claim and remind people why he very much remains in the number one conversation.
Yeah, I wish I could disagree with you for argument's sake, just for clips here, but I think he's going to have I think it's very believable that could he go out and put up a -2 and just be out there and just kind of reset? Yeah, I think that's possible too, especially playing against Michigan, which is a damn good team. They're not going to be giving him a ton of ice. But you're right? Like, 14 points in his last 7 leading up to this. So he is obviously clicking on the ice too, but yeah, I think it's certainly believable that he shows up, but I'll be seated watching. I'll be really interested to see how he does handle it. And I imagine Michigan's going to be probably in his ear a little bit too, right? It won't just be the fans. I'm sure the players are going to be chirping out there too. Any little thing to get an edge, right? Oh, yeah. Malcolm Spence? You don't think Malcolm Spence is going to be whispering sweet nothings to him? Hey, former teammates there? He might have a word or two.
Here's the one thing I will say. I think the guy that's going to take over that series, though, is Michael Hage. Michael Hage has very quietly, I think, been one of, if not the best player in college hockey this year.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
It is remarkable to a degree, because, like, here's the thing. Michigan is pretty young. I had really low expectations. We'll see what happens when the playoffs come, because I was like, this is a tough way to build a team that has championship. Because you look at BU, they did it kind of similarly, and it's gone off the rails for them. And at Michigan, it's made them one of the best teams. And you got to give a lot of credit to Brandon Naurato and everybody. But Michael Hage, he's not the leading scorer on the team. He is the straw that stirs the drink there. One of the passes he had in the Michigan State series was just absolutely outrageous, where, everyone drew to him and he just dished it off. And yeah, so that's going to be as good a game as you can watch in college hockey this year. Penn State, Michigan at Yost. So looking forward to that
so
one.
sick. Be good. We also have to talk about this maybe next week or even like coming down the line.
What do
But
you
like how wide open is the Hobie this year?
Oh my gosh, I was just having this
How
conversation.
it is incredibly wide open too, and nobody's even like talking about Porter Martone, who's hanging around top 10 and scoring 2 in fewer games, and his physical beast. Like there, like we got the Plant brothers, we got Wittenbach, like it is TJ Hughes. Like there are so many guys. Charlie Strammel's having a big year.
Yeah,
like
Page,
it's
Augustine
right?
as a goalie. Like there's
oh man,
that you can throw 15 names in right now, and I'd be like, yep, that makes sense. And that's crazy. So we will get into that. We'll get into the college playoffs are near. We'll get into that. We'll be talking a lot more about college and junior hockey once we get through this. But before we close out our show, we got to finish off with our regular segment. You have to pick one. And here's the thing. This tournament we all believe will come down to 2 teams, the United States and Canada. I thought picking one versus the other, we're American. I'm American. You're Canadian. Could go any way. We'll vote with our hearts, and maybe we still will with this. But I thought let's break it down a little bit further. You've got to build a team to win a gold medal. Do you pick Canada's forwards or the combination of USA's goalies and defense? Which is the better recipe for the current setup for both teams? What is the better recipe for success at the Olympics?
Canada's forwards. And let me tell you how good Canada's forwards are. They make Jordan Binnington look good. No, just kidding. Binnington makes himself look good when he's wearing a Team Canada jersey. But honestly, like for me, it's a no-brainer. I could be an American. I would say that too. That forward core is so good, and they're so scary. And they're like, you got Sam Reinhart on your 4th line. Sam Reinhart. Like, what are we even doing out here? Like that guy's he's a top of the lineup player. No, I'm going that too, just because then the Canada defense is still just fine. Not quite as good as the Americans, but those forwards are head and shoulders, as far as I'm concerned, over the American forward core.
Well, I mean, I've got to go with the U.S. defense and goaltending. We've got the reigning Hart Trophy and Vezina Trophy winner in net. We've got, he's had a bad season, but not as bad as Binnington. Like there's that. Yeah. And then, the other thing that I'll say about the way that USA's defense can potentially nullify Canada's forwards. You've got speed on speed. You've got mobility. I think USA has a ton of defensemen that are just so calm under pressure, guys that escape pressure well, guys that move pucks out of the zones extremely well, that disrupt in the defensive zone. I do think that you build from the net out in terms of these teams. There's no question in my mind, this Canada forward group is about as good as you could possibly ask for. It is nuclear, as I mentioned, and it scares the crap out of me. But what I look at is, when I see Quinn Hughes go back to retrieve pucks, when I see Jacob Slavin, pin a guy against the wall, when I see, like, those are the things that I'm like, they're going to be fine, regardless of who they play. Yes, Canada is going to put way more pressure on them. It's going to be a very difficult game in transition. But I look at the mobility of that U.S. blue line, and quite frankly, it's a reason that Adam Fox isn't on it. The mobility factor that every guy can skate. Like Jackson Lacombe was the first call. Why? Because his feet are great. He's got there's so much these guys can do. Yeah, and so you look at and like even Seth Jones, who's now out not playing, like, he was going to bring some element to that, but now you even have, I think, more speed on your blue line without him, and then you've got all this other stuff. So, to me, is it the red, white, and blue heart that I got going here? Is that what's probably yes? But I'm still going to say I really like that D core. I really like the goaltending. I'm really excited to watch both the U.S. and Canada throughout this tournament. It is hockey at its highest point and finest point, and we're going to talk about it next time we get together too. So before we get out of here, Cam, what do you got? What's coming up? What's going on Elite Prospects, and how tight is that groove in your couch going to be by the time the end of the Olympics is here? Because I think mine is already. I mean, it's from the women's hockey to the men's hockey. I may be stuck to the couch. You might have to do surgery to get me off of it when this is all over.
Right. And I'm just like leaving the TV on for everything. I'm watching moguls. I'm watching
Oh
ice
yeah,
dancing. I've got speed
let's
skating
go.
cruising around. Like my kids are learning about sports I've never even heard of. And I'm acting like I know exactly what's going on. I'm like, yeah, this guy's sprinting uphill, cross country skiing up like a 10 grade. No problem. It's fine. He's an athlete. Yeah, my last thought here is obviously we have a ton of stuff going on at EP. Just come check us out. Get the sub. Just quit messing around. Get the sub. Read the work. I see
Get
the
it.
comments. People are like, oh, behind a paywall. It's like, yeah, it's because it's good. Pay for it and then come read it. There's a reason for it. You get all sorts of stuff. You're spending more of that at Starbucks just once. You're getting a whole month for it here. Is my last thought on the day here is why is Clayton Keller not in the starting lineup for the Americans? What are we doing? Clayton Keller should be in that starting lineup. I'm sorry. That better not last. He better be taking somebody's spot here sooner rather than later. He is not the 14th guy on that roster.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It feels like, if the way that things have been kind of deployed so far, will be interesting to watch. How are they using Jack Hughes? Lots of different things that, we're
No
going to have to
Otter
wait and
backing
see.
up either, eh? Swayman getting the backup today?
The Sway Daddy, yeah.
Sway
I
Daddy,
think
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I think there's a lot of interesting things to track here. And USA has a really soft schedule to start things off. Although I think Germany is,
Harder
don't
than they
take
look.
anybody lightly, right? Don't take anybody lightly. You don't want to end up on the wrong side of a miracle. So, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to live off of that for the last 46 years. So yeah, but anyway, on FloHockey, just a reminder, we've got tons of stuff at night. The NHL isn't around for right now, so you watch all this great Olympic hockey and you're wondering, hey, what are the top stars of my favorite NHL team doing? The young prospects, the guys that are going to be the next wave of talent. There are so many players that played in the AHL first before going to the Olympics, so you get a chance to get that glimpse now. Watch them. You can watch them in the AHL, the OHL, the QMJHL, the USHL, all those great leagues. Also, make sure you tune into our daily Olympic reaction show. Myself and Robert Babiak will be hosting that on FloHockey 24/7, as well as Flo's social platforms. Tons of stuff to go. Cam, we're going to be back breaking it all down. I'm sure we're going to have a lot more Olympics to talk about next time. And hey, let's get into that Hobie race. Why don't we? And see if we can see if we can figure that thing out. That is a tough nut to crack. So anyway, that is going to do it for this week's episode of Called Up the Prospects podcast. For Cam Robinson, I'm Chris Peters. We'll see you next time.